Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk. We are once again delving deep into the transfer news and news of Manchester United because as always there is absolutely tons to get through this morning. So let's look at the top stories. Apparently we're not in for a goalkeeper according to Laurie Witwell from The Athletic. We'll have a look at what is being said there. Galatasaray have put in a bid for Diogo Costa. Is that something that Manchester United should be all over? Inter Milan are potentially looking at Onana. Is that true? We'll have a look at that. Laurie Whitwell has also talked about why we didn't get Beleba. There's some news on Jadon Sancho and Garnacho. Plenty going on this morning. As always, thank you very much for joining me. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel. I really appreciate you joining me. If you're liking the content, please give me a thumbs up. Will be magic. Helps the channel. Please subscribe too. And right, let's get straight into the top stories. And this is coming from Laurie Witwell from The Athletic, who gets plenty of great news about Manchester United. As it stands, Manchester United are not pursuing a number one goalkeeper. It's not on the cards. Which, after the performance the other day, take out the goal, which was highly frustrating, and I didn't do a match reaction. I should have, but I didn't. Apologies. The Bayinda actually didn't have that much to do, and what he had to do in terms of his distribution was very good, but we always are susceptible, and him in particular, and Onana's not great at it either, from corners, and we have an issue when it comes to corners, and we're going to get bombarded all season with this, where teams are going to take advantage of us, and by God, we have got to find a way to resolve this issue. The defence maybe could have done slightly better on the corner. Was there a foul on Mason Mount, as pointed out by Yapstam, potentially? Was there a foul on Bayinda? Are you allowed to do what you did on Bayinda? I think personally it's not a foul. I do think Bayinda's got to be stronger, because in the second half, Manchester United had the exact same position. Ray actually was able to punch the ball away and defend his goal. Bayinda just flapped, and it's happened twice now, and the ball's gone into the back of the net, and we lost the game. So Laurie Witwell is saying there that Manchester United are pursuing a new number one, are not pursuing a new number one goalkeeper, which I think they need to be. Right now, they really need to be. Galatasaray have, and this is just information that was coming in from Florian Plettenberg, have submitted an official bid for Diogo Costa worth 20 million plus add-ons. Now we know, we're not saying we know the price of Diogo Costa, but we know what other teams are willing to be prepared to pay for him. I think that this is a deal that we have to do. We obviously have an issue with our midfield, which I'll get onto in a minute, but we have to fix the goalkeeper. Onana's not good enough. Bayinda, unfortunately, especially when it comes to crosses, is not good enough. Tom Heaton is in his 40s now and is a third choice goalkeeper. I actually think he's still a very good goalkeeper, but I don't think he's ever going to get back into the team. So we're not going to play him, and our number one and number two are not good enough. I think we need to find a way to offer a Bayinda a way out, and we also need to bring in a goalkeeper. Diogo Costa, we know that there's money there. We know that there isn't 100 million there because we want to believe it. We'll get onto that in a bit. But we did want to spend money on a midfielder. Are we going to go after a goalkeeper? I don't know. But I would like to think that. Although the only thing I will say about Costa is I've watched him quite a bit. He's a good goalkeeper, and I've said this before. Is he better than Onana? Yes. At 20 million, actually, maybe that's not a bad deal. 20 million euro would be even better. But again, I don't know if he's the answer, because he's an international goalkeeper. Portugal's number one. He's a very, very good goalkeeper, but he has mistakes in him. As we've seen when we played against them last year, he has mistakes in him. And I don't know if he's the long-term answer. So let's keep an eye on this. But, as Laurie Witwell says, and he's very close to the club, we don't see anything happening. Now, this was another story that came out from The Sun, which, take with a massive pinch of salt. Inter Milan are interested in re-signing Andrew Onana. Inter chiefs believe he would be open-minded to a return. Now, was he dropped at the weekend? I'm not entirely sure. Did Ruben Amorim sort of offer that information up by choosing Bayinda, or is he right to say that Onana isn't match fit yet? If Onana doesn't start against Fulham at the weekend, I believe that he's made his choice and that Bayinda is his goalkeeper for much of the season. And as much as Bayinda's done well in parts, he's not the long-term solution. And I think we need a goalkeeper. Every pundit out there is screaming that we need a goalkeeper. So that's where we are on that situation. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Would you like to see Diogo Costa come to Manchester United? Would you like to see Onana leave? Maybe Vitek is the one to come back. I think he's having a brilliant season already at Bristol City. He is someone I've talked about before, and I think maybe in the future he could come back after maybe a good loan spell in the Championship. But let's see what goes on from there, because I think he's a very good goalkeeper. He also signed a new contract. Maybe he is a long-term answer. Eli Harrison's another very good goalkeeper that we have on our books, but they're a bit young and they're a bit unproven. The other goalkeeper is Sammy Lemons, and we'll have to see if anything comes from that, because we can't afford to buy him. He is cheaper, but he is number 2, and he doesn't have the experience that Costa has. So that's where we are with our goalkeeper situation. Now, this is what Laurie Witwell had to say about the Beleba deal on Manchester United pulling out of Beleba. I don't get the feeling that they had club-to-club talks as well. Well, I don't know. We possibly know that there could have been something going on. So there had been a courtesy call from Man United to Brighton to say we're not going to pursue this one and leave it there. Whether it's appreciated, it's not. Whether it's appreciated, it's not for sale, or for whatever price they would have looked at. I think there was a point in negotiations where the João Pedro money, 55 plus 5, was raised as a possible fee, and clearly Brighton have said no, it's going to cost more than that. So a quick one on that. Apologies, guys. My old dyslexia kicks in, and I hadn't really read that as well as I should have. Apologies. But what I will say is, what we as fans know is there's no way Beleba was going to ever cost 55 plus 5 or 50 plus 5 million. Never, never, never. Casido cost 100 million. Beleba was always going to be in and around the same. So for Laurie Witwell to be putting that out there and maybe being briefed from the club, then I don't think the club have done the research properly, and I think the club have they've messed this up. They didn't do this very, very well, and I think that is, for me, an issue. And that's kind of where we are with that. What's going to happen with Beleba, we don't know. But this is what else Laurie Witwell has been talking about. The decision to bring Ugarte ahead of Mainoo on Sunday once again highlighted the doubts about whether Mainoo features in Amram's long-term plans. The midfield is an issue. I don't really know what we're going to do. I don't know how this is going to go, but we're just going to have to, figure this one out quickly. So it's midfield and goalkeepers, massive issues for Manchester United. Absolutely massive issues, and real absolutely frustration that we got to get one of these deals fixed before the end of the transfer window. Now, there is a little bit on Anthony, and developments are expected regarding Anthony's future with Betis. Hoping for his return finances are key to the decision. This is coming from Fabrizio Romano. Once again, same old problem. Anthony won't leave. What are we going to do with him? How do we get him out the door? I don't have the answers. Do you have the answers? Because Anthony seems to be holding out for that, like Garnacho is holding out for Chelsea. And this is what's coming in regards to Garnacho. Manchester United are braced for an offer from Chelsea for Alejandro Garnacho, and he's determined not to, and they're determined. Manchester United determined not to let him leave on the cheap, and that's coming from Simon Stone. Simon Stone has got a lot of good information, and that's where we are with Garnacho. Will he go? I don't know. Can we get rid of him? I don't think so. I think he's going to sit in his contract. I don't think he's going to leave. I think we're going to be highly frustrated with him, and maybe he's going to leave at the very end. And if we get 30 million for him, we've messed this up, because look at all the other players that have been sold that he's actually got better statistics for, he's had better seasons for, and yet we're going to fail to get potentially 50 million for him when we should be. We take 30 million, absolute nightmare. There was the final story that Manchester United, or that Jadon Sancho is unwilling to join AS Roma. They've made a bid of 20 million euros or 20 million pound, and Manchester United have had club talks. So for me, Jadon Sancho is going to sit in his contract. He's going to want a loan. He's going to want to take as much as he can from his final year of his contract and not leave. We're not going to sell him. He's going to be sitting around to the end. Get your thoughts in. Do you think he's going to be sitting around to the end? Do you think we can find a deal to make it get done? I don't, and I'm very frustrated with it. So annoying, because we need to sell Garnacho. We need to sell Anthony. We need to sell Sancho. We need to sell Malacia. All these players need to go for us to bring in maybe a goalkeeper and potentially a midfielder. Between now and the end of the window, 2 weeks to go, can Manchester United get any deals done? I'm not entirely sure. I'm unbelievably frustrated. Disappointed to lost 1-0 to Arsenal. We played the better football. They did what they had to do to get the win, so fair play to them. But old Stoke City doing their job, 1-0 to the Arsenal and all that. Season could be unpredictable. I think it will be. We need a midfielder. We need a goalkeeper. That's all your information today. Thank you very much for joining me, Keith, the host of this little channel. Thanks for having me. If you stuck around to the end, you're a legend. Please hit the old thumbs up. Please hit the like. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow with all the latest Manchester United news, and we will see you then. Thank you very much.